Feng Yujie, who was hugging Xianxia, fell asleep beauty, with a sweet smile on her face. In the morning, Xianxia heard Yue meowing. Both he and Feng Yujie woke up because of this, and even though the sky wasn't completely bright yet, a light blue light floated in the room. These rays of light were emitted from Shui Bingyan's body. At this moment, Xianxia, Feng Yujie and Yue had all woken up. She seems to be on the verge of a breakthrough. In this period of time, she did not train much. Yue was extremely shocked as she flew to Feng Yujie and his bed. Feng Yujie said, "In the past, when she slept with me at night, she also had this kind of sleeping experience. At that time, I asked her. She herself did not know what was going on." Xianxia and the others watched on from the side. After daybreak, Shui Bingyan's body stopped emitting the blue-colored light. She had also woken up at this moment. When Shui Bingyan woke up, he saw Xianxia and the others were looking at her. At this moment, her clothes were all drenched, obviously because of the blue light that was emitted by her a moment ago. "Good morning, everyone." Shui Bingyan smiled sweetly at Xianxia and the others and quickly took off the clothes on his body, not caring about what Xianxia felt at all. This beautiful snow-white body caused Xianxia to stare blankly, but his eyes were quickly covered up by Feng Yujie's jade hands. Shui Bingyan changed into a purple skirt. Feng Yujie immediately walked over to help her tidy up her clothes and reminded her, "Bingyan, in the future, when there's a man around, you can't take off your clothes as you please. I remember telling you this before, but elder brother Shin is not an outsider. He even taught me to wear clothes. He gave me all of my clothes." Shui Bingyan looked at Xianxia and simply smiled at him, causing Xianxia to be unable to control himself. This Shui Bingyan was really so innocent and adorable. He liked her a lot. "Bingyan, when you were sleeping, your body was emitting blue light and you even wet your clothes. What's going on?" Xianxia asked. "When you slept just now, did you feel anything?" Shui Bingyan looked at Feng Yujie, and because Feng Yujie had asked her about this before, she shook her head. "I don't know, I just felt that I was a little hot sleeping just now, and then my body started to sweat." Shui Bingyan himself didn't know what was going on, so he and the others definitely wouldn't be able to get anything out of him either. Xianxia wanted to teach Feng Yujie how to refine regeneration dan, but before that, he and Feng Yujie would have to dual cultivate with a live slain method and condense some spirit orbs so that they could replicate the regeneration dan ingredients. Yue and Feng Yujie were playing around in the courtyard. Because she was worried that Shui Bingyan would cause trouble, Feng Yujie did not allow her to walk out of the courtyard. Xianxia and Feng Yujie were at the bottom of the secret room. When they were dual cultivating with the alive slain method, Xianxia had also passed down the spirit strengthening technique to Feng Yujie through the divine soul. Other than that, Feng Yujie could also clearly remember Xianxia using the spirit strengthening technique to refine pills. "I know how to refine it. Brat, you're so amazing. You actually managed to comprehend this method." Feng Yujie was extremely happy and kissed Xianxia on the mouth. "Go out and look at Bingyan. I always let her and me stay in the secret room in the past. You should also accompany her to play." Xianxia and Feng Yujie kissed for a moment, then walked out of the secret room. When they arrived outside, it was already evening. Shui Bingyan and Yue sat on the rooftop, watching the distant setting sun. Shui Bingyan was still holding onto a sweet fruit in her hands, which she had already bitten a few times. Xianxia lightly jumped on top and came to Shui Bingyan's side, laughing. "Who gave you this fruit? It looks very delicious." Shui Bingyan passed the fruit over. "Elder brother Shin, eat. It's better if you eat it. I've eaten too much of this fruit." Then, she took out the divine fruit that Huang Jintian had given her. This divine fruit could produce an extremely fragrant fruit juice, and a small piece of the fruit could be cut out from it. Shui Bingyan took a sip and praised it repeatedly. She was worried that she wouldn't be able to drink anymore, so she took a small sip. "Bingyan, will you miss the place you were born in?" Shui Bingyan asked. Shui Bingyan was a Tao spirit, but she was no different from ordinary people. She could be considered a natural-born life form, and was very strong. "I don't want to go back. It's so boring inside. No one told me anything interesting. I also don't have you air to play with me." Shui Bingyan shook his head. I don't want to go back. Xianxia laughed. Then I won't go back. Wait till I bring you to an even more interesting place to do even more interesting things. Shui Bingyan nodded with anticipation. As they sat on the roof, they could see that the three Gu brothers was coming back to them in a loud voice. When three Gu brothers opened the door, he saw Xianxia and Shui Bingyan on top of the roof watching the sunset. Brat, where's little junior sister? The price of the regeneration Dan has risen, and now it is selling for 1,500,000, which is over 1 million more than before. Oldest Gu shouted. Previously, because someone wanted to go against Feng Yujia, Xianxia had flaunted himself and sold the income tax that was originally worth millions of Shen Yuan stone. But now it had suddenly increased to 1,500,000. Xianxia was very surprised. Why did it suddenly increase so much? Does anyone buy it? Xianxia asked. He had 7 regeneration danes in his possession, and he had already found a way to easily refine them, so he and Feng Yujia planned to fight back. No one has bought it yet, but it will soon be available. At that time, the boxing hall, sword hall, and others would all have this kind of healing pellet. That fellow who sold the regeneration Dan very cheaply before must earn back some money now. That's why he raised the price so suddenly. The oldest Gu said, Is it possible that little Junior doesn't plan on refining more regeneration Dan now? Second brother Gu said, Now that the regeneration Dan's ingredients have all been bought by that guy, that bastard is actually hoarding quite a few regeneration Dan's ingredients. That guy sold the pills at a low price and bought the regeneration Dan's ingredients at a high price. On one hand, it's to publicize his own strength and his own ability as a regeneration Dan, and on the other hand, it's to wait for the large competition to come and earn a lot of money. Xianxia said, During the large competition, other forces will also come, right? The oldest Gu nodded his head. They will, and will be more than 10 days early. At that time, they will also come here to buy medicinal ingredients because in this super god realm, the Dan Halls are quite famous. More than 10 days later, a large group of disciples from other forces should arrive and start to build houses outside of the divine palace. It is the young men from Boxing Hall and Boxing Hall who are responsible for building these houses. Xianxia had been concocting pills in his closed-door cultivation these past few days, so he did not know about these things. If it was really like this, then he and Feng Yujia would have been able to counterattack using the regeneration Dan and let the young alchemist who was competing with them experience the feeling of being suppressed. Right now, Xianxia only needed to wait for Feng Yujia to come out before he could properly discuss how to activate the regeneration Dan with her. Seeing Xianxia's smiling face, the oldest Gu did not understand, because they thought that Feng Yujia had given up on the regeneration Dan S. This was because he could not earn the Shen Yuan Stone S ingredients and the regeneration Dan S ingredients were all monopolized by the... Oh right, brat. There's another rather important matter I need to tell you. It's the third hall. A young brat called Xianxia died. Oldest Gu chuckled. This guy is also said to be a young alchemist who can refine Zhongping Dan. Xianxia and Yue both knew what was going on because Xianxia was the one who was killed by Xianxia. How did such a good seedling die? Xianxia asked in surprise. What's so strange about that? There's nothing strange about the divine medicine. Even if 10 or 8 supreme gods die, it wouldn't be anything strange. The oldest Gu said, Right now, the hall masters of the 3 halls have already investigated. It's hard to say whether or not they know the cause of death. Xianxia nodded his head. He was sure that he did not leave any traces behind when he killed Xianxia, so that way he would not be found out. Before, he was still worried that Zhangzhu's matter would be found out. But after such a long period of time, the sword hall seemed to have already given up on pursuing him. However, this Xianxia was somewhat different. A young alchemist like him had a very high status in the Supreme Divine Palace. 3 Gu brothers only returned to his room to rest for a few hours before running out in the middle of the night. During this time, they had been very busy preparing for the upcoming large competition. Xianxia only waited 2 days before Feng Yujia came out from the secret underground room to look at her smile. He knew that she had used the method Xianxia taught her to successfully refine the regeneration Dan. I can only refine 6 pills now. I need to refine 7 pills after I become familiar with them, Feng Yujia said very happily. She passed the regeneration Dan over to Xianxia and then ran into the bathroom to shower. Knowing that there were two great beauties bathing and playing inside, Xianxia couldn't help but think about it and wanted to join in the fun. There are still 7 to 8 days before the other Powers disciples will arrive outside the Supreme Divine Palace one by one. That guy's regeneration Dan will rise to 1,500,000. Although they're selling for that price right now, no one has bought it yet, said Xianxia as he combed his hair after he finished showering. As soon as she hear the news, she understand what have happened. The person who refined the regeneration Dan was a short boy named Huayang. The other one was a tall and sturdy boy called Chuxiang. These two guys have a very good relationship with each other. Their alchemy skills are very good, Feng Yujie said. It seems like they plan to take advantage of this opportunity and earn a bit. They plan to sell the regeneration Dan to the stronger disciples. Xianxia nodded his head. So when the time comes, the disciples of the various powers will need to reserve some healing pellets, and this regeneration Dan will definitely be favored by many disciples. We need to hurry up and get some spirit orbs, Feng Yujie said. We have all successfully refined a batch of regeneration Dan. Feng Yujie said, we all successfully refined a batch of spirit orbs. Feng Yujie said, we all successfully refined a batch of regeneration Dan was very angry. She never wanted to get even with these brats. But now, she felt like she was being bullied. Let's rest a bit before we go to the secret room to refine pills. Feng Yujie gave Xianxia a signal. They did not only want to refine pills, they also wanted to condense spirit pearls to duplicate medicinal ingredients. Feng Yujie said to Yuer, take a good look at her icy face. Don't let her run around randomly. During this period of time, Supreme Divine Palace will be rather complicated. Just let her stay in the courtyard. Shui Bingyan obediently said, Big sister, I will definitely not run around. You don't have to worry about me and just concoct pills with elder brother Shin. Seeing that Shui Bingyan was obedient, Feng Yujie smiled in relief and stroked her face, bringing out some delicious fruits for her to eat. Because of lack of time, Xianxia and Feng Yujie immediately went to the basement. Little scoundrel, we only have one portion of regeneration Dan's medicinal pellets left. If we want to copy one of those, then we won't have much spirit liquid that you and I can cultivate alone, right? And the maximum we can condense is 6 spirit pellets a day. Feng Yujie bit her lower lip and her beautiful face blushed as she glanced at Xianxia bashfully. Xianxia felt that her reaction was a little strange and said, Not bad. At least a few days will be enough for us to make a few batches of regeneration Dan's medicinal herbs. If every batch is a success, we will have dozens of regeneration Dan's pellets. Hearing Xianxia's words, Feng Yujie's beautiful face became even redder. Little scoundrel, do you think it will be better if you join us to cultivate our spiritual pearls at a deeper level? Only now did Xianxia understand that Feng Yujie's reaction speed had also increased a lot. That's for sure. Now we can. Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Feng Yujie pounced over and gagged him with sandalwood. Then, she heard Feng Yujie's gentle voice in her mind. I'll give you everything. Xianxia did not answer Feng Yujie and did not need him to make any promises, because Xianxia had been extremely helpful to her during this period of time. In the basement, Xianxia and Feng Yujie were one body and mind, and the two of them had supreme god bone. This combination would bring them a much better harvest. Xianxia carried the mission of saving the 9 divine kings, so he had been of great help to Johanru. In the future, because of the pressure of saving the enemies that the 9 divine kings would face, Xianxia would have an even bigger chance of winning against the reserved Feng Yujie. The two of them naturally woke up. It was late at night and they didn't know how much time had passed. 10 purple pearls. Feng Yujie had seen the purple pearls that Xianxia and the others condensed when they were cultivating together, but they were all relatively large. Although she and Xianxia had condensed out 10 purple pearls, they were only the size of a grain of rice. Xianxia looked at the color of the purple pearls, then used his spirit eyes to look at the energy inside, and exclaimed in joy. Although it is small, the effects are not weak at all. Feng Yujie asked in a low voice, Little scoundrel, You and Qilian seem to be able to condense more than 10 pills at once, right? Xianxia smiled and nodded. If she was also of the god's strength and we cultivated together, she should have already cultivated the alive slain method like she is now for many years. That's why she and I can condense a little more. Feng Yujie did not understand much about these spirit orbs. Even Xianxia did not know much about them, but only LV Qilian was familiar with this area, so she could roughly guess how many medicinal herbs the spirit orb could replicate. MN, you and I both have the strength of gods, so before, we could only kiss each other to condense spiritual beads that could be quickly replicated with divine medicines. But now, the spiritual beads that we condense will be even better. Xianxia took out a jade bowl, preparing to start copying the medicinal herb. Forging Regeneration Dan requires 4 kinds of blue spirit pearls before each one can be replicated. So to make a copy, I need to make 8 blue spirit pearls. I wonder how many purple pearls are needed. Feng Yujie was also looking forward to seeing that she had already cut out a portion of the Regeneration Dan's medicine and placed it into 2 bowls. Xianxia nodded to Feng Yujie, indicating that Feng Yujie could put the pearl inside. The purple spirit pearl was only the size of a rice grain. After both Feng Yujie and Xianxia had finished cultivating, it had congealed in Feng Yujie's mouth. When Feng Yujie looked at the spirit pearl that he and his beloved man had condensed for the first time, a sweet feeling arose in his heart. She put a purple spirit pearl into the bowl. When the purple spirit pearl touched the water in the bowl, it instantly melted and turned into a deep purple color. After absorbing the violet water, the divine fruit quickly grew to the other half. Soon, 2 divine fruits appeared in the bowl. The water hasn't cleared out yet, so you can continue copying it, Xianxia said in surprise. Feng Yujie picked up the 2 divine fruits and cut them apart before placing them into a bowl. In the end, there were only 4 of them. Just a purple bead could change a Zhongping medicine. Xianxia and Feng Yujie were both very surprised because this already exceeded their expectations. That's great. Feng Yujie happily kissed Xianxia's cheek. Our 10 purple pearls can turn into 40. Xianxia laughed. Let's cultivate double for 2 more days and we will be able to cultivate up to 20 more pills. Then we will start to refine pills in the remaining time. Feng Yujie nodded her head. Although her face was red, when she looked at Xianxia, it was filled with charm power. In the past, Xianxia could completely suppress the temptation of Feng Yujie. However, after experiencing the 9 heavens goddess once, Xianxia realized that he had no way of resisting her. This also made Feng Yujie happily laugh at how she failed to seduce Xianxia previously. In just 2 days, Feng Yujie had already condensed 20 purple pearls. She left 10 of them for the reserve 20 to duplicate Regeneration Dan's medicinal ingredients. Sister Feng, are you still refining that divine jade pellet? Xianxia asked. That divine jade pellet was a divine pellet that Feng Yujie had refined using the original source refining for the first time, and its effects were not bad as well. Of course I won't sell it for now. I plan to take it out after the competition at Dan Hall. As long as she did not restrain the enticing power, Feng Yujie's clothes and her inherent charm would be added on top of the fact that she had already become Xianxia's woman. Feng Yujie saw that Xianxia could not hold it in anymore. She laughed and retracted the strange seductive power that was on her body, then laughed. First refine the pill. I wonder if it can be completed in a few days. Xianxia secretly took a deep breath, hugged Feng Yujie and kissed her cheeks. It's all right if we can't refine it. Even if the 2 of them were to refine pills together in the secret chamber, they wouldn't find it dull and full of motivation. Xianxia and Feng Yujie could use the original source refining to refine 4 batches of Regeneration Danis per day. 2 people would refine 8 batches of Regeneration Danis per day, and they had refined a total of 50 batches of pellets out of the pellet in 6 days. There were still 2 days until the disciples of other forces would head to Supreme Divine Palace. They were busy for a few days, so they needed to rest. Feng Yujie hugged Xianxia. Seeing that Xianxia was a little tired, she used her jade hands to caress his chest gently. Undying from exhaustion, Xianxia faintly smiled, then lightly inhaled and relaxed his entire body. He began to rest. He needed to recover fully. The second day, Xianxia and Feng Yujie walked out of the secret room. When Shui Bingyan saw them, he hastily went over to greet them and passed them 2 cups of ice-cold water. This is the iced tea that I refined. It's very delicious. The big senior brother and the hall master both said it's very good, Shui Bingyan said as he giggled. Xianxia and Feng Yujie took the iced tea from her. Just as they were about to drink it, they felt a very refreshing and cool sensation, allowing them to drink it in one gulp. Her icy face is getting more and more powerful, and she can even make such delicious iced tea, Feng Yujie praised. This made Shui Bingyan feel extremely happy, as if he was a child being praised by an adult. Xianxia laughed. Bingyan is too bored staying here these few days. Let's go. Let's take you out for a walk. Shui Bingyan had long wanted to look outside. Hearing Xianxia's words, he immediately cheered and jumped out of the courtyard while holding Feng Yujie's hand. Yue flew into Xianxia's backpack and smiled sweetly. The taste of the 9 heavens goddess is pretty good, right? Xianxia pressed his finger on her head. Don't speak carelessly about this matter. Yue stuck out her cute and petite tongue as she laughed. Of course I won't speak carelessly. However, obtaining the 9 heavens goddess is one of the goals of those princes. After all, the 9 heavens goddess possesses the inheritance of the 9 divine kings. Of course, other than that, there was the 9 heaven world. I don't know about the specifics. Xianxia did not know about this matter. He and Feng Yujie only dual cultivated a live slain method, but they did not cultivate. Other than that, he planned to give it a try. At this time, the inside of the Supreme Divine Palace was relatively deserted because everyone had gathered in a city outside of the Supreme Divine Palace. The city was called Heroes Gathering Divine City, and it was constructed quite grand, and it was very close to the Supreme Divine Palace, and it looked just like the Supreme Divine Palace. This city was established to welcome the other disciples of the Super God realm. In the future, this city would gather the commoners of some nearby villages. This would be quite beneficial for the disciples of the Supreme Divine Palace. At least, it would be more convenient to purchase divine medicines and other things in the future. Feng Yujie brought Shui Bingyan and walked in the front. Their clothes were all relatively simple, but their outstanding appearance caused quite a few men to look at them. There weren't many people in the city yet, but it could be seen that among the disciples of other forces were the disciples of the Purple Smoke Divine Mountain that Xianxia was more familiar with. Xianxia and Feng Yujie were walking on the road, when they suddenly saw an old man in front of them who was waving to them. This old man was oldest Gu. He was standing in front of a 5-story tall building. Gu Lao Er and Gu Lao San were also there. Xianxia quickly walked over and saw that the first floor was empty. Most of the shops on the street were empty. Little demon, this is our 10th hall's shop. Do you want to sell anything here? If we don't have anything to sell, we can transfer it to someone else and also get a share of the rent. The oldest Gu said. On the way here, Feng Yujie had said that he wanted to find a shop to sell his regeneration dan, and it was a headache for him. He hadn't thought that the 10th hall would be allocated such a good shop once this Heroes Gathering Divine City was completed. Of course there is. We want to sell the divine pills, and when we get the Shun Yuan stone, we will give you some. Xianxia laughed. We were just worrying about the matters of the shop. The oldest Gu laughed. You youngsters sure are vigorous. It's almost time for the competition, and you can even get some divine pills for sale. We old bones can't anyway, second brother Gu said. Being able to own such a shop is all thanks to the hall master. The hall master must have contributed greatly to the Supreme Divine Palace, which is why he obtained it. In all of Dan Hall, only our 10th hall can obtain it, and in the other halls it seems like only 10 of us can obtain it. Xianxia was puzzled and asked, This divine city is not small, and we also have a lot of shops. Why are there so few shrines that are distributed among our Supreme Divine Palaces? Only about 10 halls can be bought. The oldest Gu said, Of course, after Supreme Divine Palace constructs this divine city, he will have to spend a lot of effort to protect it in the future, especially those few large transmission arrays, which consume a large amount of Shun Yuan stone every day. That's why our Supreme Divine Palace will rent out these stores. Our Supreme Divine Palace will have a certain share of it, so for the other halls, those who want to rent out shops to do business, they will have to depend on relationships to get it. Feng Yujie asked, so you mean that the people from the other powers can also open shops here? Oldest Gu nodded his head. The reason we built this divine city is to gather the elite disciples of all the powers in the super god realm. It is beneficial for the development of all the major powers, and the conditions are better in all aspects of the Supreme Divine Palace. So we choose to build here. Chun Xiang looked at the extremely wide street and asked, to build such a wide street, is it to make it convenient for the big men of the Beast Divine Palace? The big figures of the Beast Divine Palace have many good things, and they do not know how to use them. When they were building the Divine City, Hall Master had already instructed that the big figures of the Beast Divine Palace must consider everything carefully. Feng Yujie walked into the shop and exclaimed, there are a total of 10 stores, and each of them is so big with 5 floors above. If we were to rent this shop, we would probably receive quite a lot of Shun Yuan stone every month. Of course, at least 1 million or so Shun Yuan stone S. If they were to develop in the future, thousands and thousands of Shun Yuan stone S a month would still be okay. Oldest Gu said, you guys can take it since you lack a shop. In any case, we brothers don't lack any Shin Yuan stone. So when you guys are tired, you guys can let us know and we'll transfer the shop out. Tomorrow, the transmission array will be completely stable, and at that time, the disciples of the other forces will also come here. Earlier on, in order to attract people from other forces to come here, the transmission array was free. Old Gu said, right now, the transmission array was not completed yet, but there were already a lot of people and they all came from different places. Although there were some disciples in the Supreme Divine Palace, they were not as many as in other places. Chan Xiang asked, will the large competition also be held here? Oldest Gu said, it will be held here. The venue will be in the middle and it will be a large plaza. When the time comes, it will be a public competition. Chun Xiang and Feng Yujie were not worried about all this. They had experienced many big things, and what they were more concerned about was how to quickly sell the regeneration dan in their hands. Inside the shop, there was only one table. Feng Yujie called the 3 Gu brothers in and told them to shut the door. Chun Xiang saw a sly glint flash across Feng Yujie's eyes and knew what she was planning. My 3 senior brothers, I know you've been very busy. This shop is so big now, just Chun Xiang and I alone will find it difficult to manage it all at once, and we will need to open it tomorrow, so... Hearing Feng Yujie say that, 3 Gu brothers immediately understood. Oldest Gu laughed. If you need our help, just say it directly. You are our junior sister. Shui Bingyan, who was at the side, laughed. And me, I am also your junior sister. Right. You two are our little junior sisters now? Oldest Gu laughed. Isn't it just opening tomorrow? Today we will help you arrange everything here. This small matter is not difficult for us. Feng Yujie took out a jade tablet and chuckled. Then this little sister will first thank the 3 senior brothers. This is the regeneration dan's pill formula. I will gift it to you guys. 3 Gu brothers obviously knew the value of regeneration dan. This was a pretty good Zhongpin dan. Seeing that Feng Yujie wanted to give this to them, they all refused. That won't do, we don't have anything good to return the gesture, we can't take it. If the hall master finds out, he'll teach us too. Oldest Gu hurriedly shook his head. Second brother Gu said, Junior sister, please don't be so formal. Aren't we just helping you out with a small favor? Was there a need to be so polite? Hurry and take it back. Chan Xiang laughed. I won't hide it from the 3 senior brothers. This regeneration dan is no longer of much value in our eyes. So I can gift it to you, and we do not just ask you to help us arrange this place well. There are other hard work for you all. Feng Yujie nodded his head, and said with a smile. Chun Xiang and I have been busy refining regeneration dan, and now there are more than 300 of them. Those 2 guys who came together are our biggest competitors. They must have been preparing for this for a long time. Not long ago they even made a loss selling their regeneration danes to increase their fame. So I want to have the 3 senior brothers help us advertise our regeneration danes. When the time comes, I want to let everyone know that the regeneration danes we are selling here are cheaper than those 2 guys, and better than theirs. 3 Gu brothers was frightened quite badly. They had collected more than 300 regeneration Dan, and just thinking about it made them frightened. Because of the information they had gathered, even the two of them here only had 60 to 70 regeneration Dan. Xianxia and Wuxia still had a lot of regeneration Dan's medicinal ingredients in their hands. However, due to time constraints, they did not manage to refine them in time. Right now, they were certain that the currency used by the Super God Realm and those divine nations were the Shen Yuan Stone, and their target in the future was the 9 great divine nations. Therefore, they had to take advantage of this situation to store a few more Shen Yuan Stone, not to mention that they needed to gather a large amount of divine medicine. The oldest Gu said, "This is a big matter. If we do not inform the Hall Master about this matter and prevent him from participating, he will definitely scold us. I will call him over right now." Just as oldest Gu finished speaking, Gu Lao smiled and said, "I had already used a sound transmission jade to notify him. This is a huge matter in our 10th hall. Of course Hall Master would not be missing." Old Gu smiled. "The members of the 10th hall are all here. We're only missing one Hall Master. It's about time to gather. After all, our 10th hall has 3 new young men." Oldest Gu patted Xianxia's shoulders and laughed. "It's all thanks to this kid," Shui Bingyan said guiltily. "My fellow senior brothers and sisters, I do not know how to refine pills. I only know how to make iced tea." Shui Bingyan brought out the iced tea that she had just made, one for each person. She still had a large pot in her hands. "It's fine, we'll be fine. Our 10th hall hasn't had youngsters like you for so many years. How good is it now?" He was the eldest senior brother and was very concerned with Xianxia and the others. He was just like a younger brother and sister to him. Luo Tianjun came and saw that 3 Gu brothers and the others were chatting and laughing, drinking that delicious iced tea, and scolded him the moment he entered the door. "You bunch of brats, you've been gathering for so long, only now did you notify me." The moment Luo Tianjun walked in, Shui Bingyan immediately gave him a cup of iced tea. Was extremely fond of this foolish girl, Shui Bingyan. Wuxia immediately chattered on about his plan to Luo Tianjun. After Luo Tianjun finished listening, he sighed with emotion. "You youngsters are even more powerful than us old bones. A while ago, this brat helped old Zhu complete a very dangerous mission. And now you, as a little girl, have tossed out a few hundred regeneration Dennis." Xianxia laughed. "All of these were forced out. Sister Feng was previously provoked by those 2 little imps, so she decided to retaliate." Luo Tianjun stroked his mustache and nodded. "That's right. The 2 fellows from before were selling their regeneration Dennis at a low price. Now I want to take them back, but I can't let them succeed in the first place. Now is a good opportunity, so you guys can arrange everything properly here and leave the matter of the promotions to me. It's really been many years since I traveled and have also accumulated a lot of connections. I can guarantee that you guys will have a good start tomorrow." Although Xianxia and Wuxia were happy when they heard it, they also felt a lot of pressure. If business were to be good, they would need to provide enough regeneration Dan. "Hall Master, we will sell only 100 pills on the first day. After that, we will provide 50 pills a day until there is no more." Wuxia said, "If there are too many people, we can sell them all in one day." Luo Tianjun said, "Sure, as long as you don't let the regeneration Dan of those 2 sell." Wuxia took out a few regeneration Danes and handed them over to Luo Tianjun and 3 Gu brothers, saying, "Take a look at the quality of these regeneration Dan, and compare them with the quality of the ones in one room. Very good, the quality is good, and it looks fresh. It was just made not long ago, right? The 2 regeneration Dan in the hall have been stored for a long time, and their quality has dropped a lot. They are definitely not as good as you 2. Even if they aren't concocting pills, you can tell at a glance." The oldest Gu praised. In this place, only Luo Tianjun knew about Xianxia and Wuxia's background, so he was not surprised at all with these regeneration Dan. Xianxia took a jade tablet from Wuxia and said, "Hall Master, senior brothers, this is the regeneration Dan's pill formula. Sister Feng has already passed it down to me. Now that you have helped us, I will give it to you." Luo Tianjun originally did not want it, but since Xianxia and Wuxia had forcefully given it to him, he could only accept it and give it to 3 Gu brothers as well. "Brat, if you need help, you can also go to Old Iron Cock. This guy probably doesn't have anything to do right now, so he'll definitely help you guys enthusiastically. Luo Tianjun said. Who is the old iron cock? Feng Yujie thought about it. She and Xianxia did not know each other. He's that old man from the Supreme Hall. We all call him Old Iron Cock. But you can't call him that in front of everyone. It's very rude. Luo Tianjun laughed out loud. He should be hosting the construction of the transmission array at the plaza right now. You can take a walk. As for the arrangement here, leave it to the three of them. You can go and play as much as you want. The old man from the Supreme Hall was extremely powerful, but his nickname was actually the Old Iron Cock, which made it difficult for Xianxia and Xianxia to understand him. When Luo Tianjun left the shop, three Gu brothers also split up and moved. Xianxia and Feng Yujie brought Shui Bingyan and walked towards the large plaza in the middle. Yu Er stuck her head out from her backpack and said excitedly, "The transmission array is completed. It will be more convenient for me to return to the Supreme Divine Palace in the future. At that time, I can introduce some of my friends to me." After Shui Bingyan heard this, he asked, "Yuer, is your friend a little kitten?" Yuer shook her head. "No, there are birds, little eagles, little tigers, and little snakes. When the time comes, I'll see if I can contact them." Xianxia also thought that Yuer's friends were all cats. He didn't expect that her relationship with them was so broad. When they reached the plaza, they quickly found the Old Iron Cock. He was pointing at a few elderly men as he adjusted the transmission array. What made Xianxia startled was that he saw Xiao holding onto a black sword. Xiao stood at the side of the plaza coldly, as if he was waiting for something. "Sister Feng, bring Bingyan to talk with Senior Old Iron Cock. I'll go take a look at what's going on with Xiao." Xianxia sent a sound transmission to Feng Yujie before walking to the other side of the large plaza, where Xiao stood. Xiao had already seen Xianxia, so he nodded towards him. Xianxia had saved him before, and was even Qi Shi's friend. "Senior Xie, what are you doing here?" Xianxia asked in a low voice. "Wait for the bandits in Purple Smoke Divine Mountain. Once they appear, I will let them stain this place in blood. I just had a breakthrough. I can use them to train." Xiao spoke very casually, as if he was just chatting normally. In his eyes, killing the Purple Smoke Divine Mountain gods was like lifting his hand. Xianxia's eyebrows twitched. Once Xiao broke through, his killing intent was this strong. He laughed. "Senior, this is not good. Tomorrow is a good day for all the major powers to gather here. You are here to kill someone?" Xiao said indifferently. "Don't be afraid. Who asked them to steal me? The disciples of our Supreme Divine Palace were robbed. It is only natural to kill them back. Don't worry, tomorrow, there will be a person with full prestige supporting me in the Supreme Divine Palace. I have already investigated. Those bandits' reputations are terrible. Tomorrow I will expose them for sure." Xianxia also wished for those bandits to die. These bandits were plotting against him, and they also did a lot of heartless things in the divine medicinal treasure land. They deserved to die. If he had Supreme Divine Palace's support, Xianxia would be happy to see it. Xiao had already hinted at Xianxia that he had a very strong backer in the Supreme Divine Palace. Regarding this matter, Xianxia did not know, but he had thought that Xiao was just a small fry in the boxing hall. Xianxia understood that the boxing hall belonged to one of the Divine Nations' factions, and the elders in charge of the boxing hall and the sword hall were all working hard for the Divine Nations. Xiao was now with the boxing hall, so could his backer be an elder of the boxing hall? And how did he build a good relationship with that elder? Xianxia was very curious, but he did not ask. "They may not come until tomorrow," Xianxia said. "Tomorrow, our 10th hall's shop will open. If I have time tomorrow, I will come and take a look." He already knew about his real appearance. Because he had killed Xianxia and one of the Purple Smoke Divine Mountain's disciples, he did not want to meet with the Purple Smoke Divine Mountain's disciple again. He was worried that something might leak out. Of course, he was very happy that these bandits had gotten rid of him, because they had planned to capture him and force him to hand over the god-murdering sword techniques and the heavenly alchemy. And the one who ordered them to do so was an elder of the Purple Smoke Divine Mountain. Xiao said, "Furthermore, I have heard news that they will be here tonight. If nothing unexpected happens, it should be like this. Xiao had just seen Xianxia and Feng Yujie come together. He had met Feng Yujie before, but that was a long time ago. Feng Yujie was currently chatting and laughing with the old iron cock, causing him to be secretly surprised. Xiao had been in the Supreme Divine Palace for a very long time, so he knew the character of the old iron cock. He was a petty and black-hearted person, and he very rarely talked or laughed with disciples, unless it was to trade with him. Xianxia said, "Then I will come back later. I still have some matters to attend to. I will be leaving first, goodbye." Xiao nodded towards Xianxia, and then watched Xianxia walk towards the old iron cock. "Elder, when will this transmission array be completed?" Xianxia wanted to confirm if what Xiao said was true. "The purple smoke, divine mountains, god of heaven, would come tonight. We can build it before nightfall. Where do you want to go?" The old iron cock laughed. Xianxia had given him a Dao Heartstone. There was no need to talk about him giving it to Xianxia and Feng Yujie. Feng Yujie laughed. "The elder already knows that we are opening a shop. He said that he will help us spread the news, and he will even send people to help us decorate the shop." Xianxia immediately replied gratefully, "Thank you, elder, for your help. There's no need to stand on ceremony." When old iron cock received the Dao Heartstone that Xianxia gifted to him, he did not speak carelessly about it, as it would bring Xianxia trouble. Just as old iron cock finished speaking, a gust of cool wind suddenly blew over. Xianxia was immediately startled. He was extremely familiar with this gust of wind. It was that Xianxia. Xianxia was the hall master of the Six Realms Divine Palace. So both Feng Yujie and Luo Tianjun knew this Xianxia. The last time Xianxia had said that he would come to the Supreme Divine Palace, he hadn't even finished constructing the transmission array before he had arrived. "It's this guy. I never thought that he would actually come. I even thought that Hallmaster was joking." Old Iron Cock looked in a direction as he muttered to himself. It seems like he knew of this Xianxia as well. Feng Yujie sent a sound transmission to Xianxia. "Has Xianxia come? Although many years have passed, this aura is extremely familiar." Xianxia was a disciple that was specially groomed by the 9 divine kings, so Xianxia recognized him. "Is this guy? He is the hall master of the 6 Realms Divine Palace, but he always appears and disappears, without a trace of an expert's demeanor." Xianxia complained, "Last time, this guy scared me like a ghost." Feng Yujie and Xianxia returned to the shop. Shui Bingyan held Feng Yujie's arm and looked in one direction. In that direction, there was also the direction old Iron Cock had just been looking. "Bingyan, what are you looking at?" Feng Yujie had already guessed that Shui Bingyan was there, but she still wanted to confirm. "There's a very strong guy over there, but he doesn't have any ill intentions towards us, so we don't need to be afraid of him." Shui Bingyan blinked his eyes and then did not take this matter to heart anymore. Feng Yujie laughed tenderly. "Xianxia, if this Xianxia knows that I have already become your woman, he might be jealous, so you better be prepared." Xianxia was a little shocked. "This guy has pursued you before?" Feng Yujie stuck out her tongue, pouted her lips, and said, "Look at your reaction. It's as though I don't have anyone chasing after you. You must know that I am the goddess of the 9 heavens, and there are many men who wish to obtain me." Xianxia laughed. "So what? In the end, you're still not mine? Let them go to hell." Feng Yujie curled his lips. "Many of those fellows are very strong. It's not easy for you to get them to go to hell. For example, this Xianxia is now the hall master of the 6 Realms Divine Palace." Shui Bingyan asked, "Elder brother Shen, the Xianxia you are talking about, is he him?" As she said that, she opened her jade palm, and a pool of water appeared in her palm. The lump of water quickly turned into a small person, with long hair fluttering in the wind, elegant demeanor, and a flute in hand. It was the extremely handsome Xianxia. "It's this guy." Xianxia laughed. "Bingyan, you're really amazing. You've already seen him?" "Yes, there is water vapor that people can't see at all times. Through this water vapor, I can see everything around me." Shui Bingyan nodded. She was a Tao spirit and had naturally mastered the laws of ice and water. Elder Brother Shin, are you going to deal with this guy? If he bullies you, I'll help you beat him up. Shui Bingyan replied, I can beat him. That was why Shui Bingyan said this when she heard Chunxiang and Feng Yujia's conversation. It was because she heard from Chunxiang that Chunxiang had a powerful enemy. This allowed Chunxiang and Feng Yujia to have a new understanding of Shui Bingyan's strength. About this, we don't need it for now. He is not my enemy. Chunxiang caressed her jade face and laughed. Bingyan, you have great strength. Do not recklessly kill innocent people. I think you should be able to tell that those are bad guys and good people. Shui Bingyan immediately said, I can tell Elder Brother Shin is a good person. Chunxiang nodded with satisfaction and laughed. Not bad. Feng Yujie shook his head. Chunxiang was a good person, but sometimes he was like a demon. As they were on their way back to the shop, they met Luo Tianjun, who seemed to be looking for them. It's great that we met you. Then Xiao Changle is here. Let's go see him. I haven't seen him for a while. Luo Tianjun laughed. Feng Yujie suddenly held onto Chunxiang's hand tightly. It was obvious that she was nervous. Chunxiang asked through sound transmission, What are you worried about? Feng Yujie shook her head. She did not reply, but merely followed behind Luo Tianjun thoughtfully. Chunxiang guessed that she was worried about meeting Xiao Changle, since she was the one who had been pursued by Xiao Changle before. There's nothing to be afraid of. Chunxiang laughed and sent a sound transmission to Feng Yujie. Sister Feng, he should have had the same strength as you back then. Is he much stronger than you now? Feng Yujie replied. Of course not, he was already much stronger than me back then. Back then, I was still very young, and I was created by the 9 divine kings for only over 20 years. Chunxiang laughed. At that time, he was just like a god. And now he has yet to break through to the supreme god realm. Isn't that a little weak? Feng Yujie shook his head. It's not easy for him to break through to super god realm. For him to be able to reach his current level, it's already considered very impressive. Of course, you are an exception. Luo Tianjun seemed to be in a hurry to see Xiao Changle, so he increased his pace along the way. Xiao Changle had just appeared in the plaza earlier, but the direction that Luo Tianjun was heading towards was the forest outside of Supreme Divine Palace. Chunxiang remembered that it was a forbidden area, and there was even a very powerful barrier enveloping it, making it difficult to enter even if he wanted to. When Luo Tianjun arrived at the forest, he suddenly stopped in his tracks. Chunxiang and Feng Yujie also stopped, because they knew that there was a barrier in front of them. On the other hand, Shui Bingyan was skipping and chasing after a beautiful butterfly, and when she arrived outside the barrier, she saw beautiful flowers inside, so she flew over by herself. Chunxiang and Feng Yujie were about to call for her to stop, but she had unexpectedly passed through the barrier and arrived beside the red flower. Seeing that, Luo Tianjun turned pale and stood there in a daze. Brat. Just what is the background of this girl being it? It was only now that Luo Tianjun realized that he had been mistaken for so many days. Shui Bingyan had casually passed through this barrier without being discovered, and this kind of strength was extremely terrifying. He could not imagine how such a naive and innocent woman could actually possess this kind of terrifying strength. Well, didn't I help Elder Zhu find the Dao Heart Stone a while ago? I took her out of there, Chunxiang said in a low voice. Luo Tianjun took out an array disc, and only then could he open a hole for them to go in. Feng Yujie anxiously pulled Shui Bingyan, worried that she would barge through some more array formation, and if she encountered some more killing array formations, it might cause some unnecessary trouble. Pavilion Master, where is this place? Then why did Xiao Changle come here? Chunxiang looked around. All he could see were ancient evergreen trees, birds chirping and the fragrance of flowers. It was a little different from the Supreme Divine Palace and that Heroes Gathering Divine City. This is the residence of the Hall Master of our Supreme Divine Palace, and is also the place where our elders normally meet the Hall Master to discuss things. There are many precious things stored here. That's why there's such a powerful barrier. But just now, this girl, Bingyan. Luo Tianjun said in a low voice, I will help all of you hide things related to the ice face. In the future, I need to be more careful. Following Luo Tianjun, Xianxia and the others arrived at a manor. In the courtyard, 2 young people and an old man sat on a stone table. One of the young men was Xianxia, who was dressed very carefully. He had long hair and was dressed very neatly. The other young man wore a plain black robe, had short hair, and a body that also looked relatively small. However, he gave off a sharp and powerful feeling. His eyes were like a hawk's, and the moment he looked over, he made Xianxia, Feng Yujie, and the others tremble. This short-haired man should be the Supreme Divine Palace's palace master. It's actually him. Feng Yujie sent a sound transmission to Xianxia. I also know this person, and he is a young man that 9 divine kings had guided in the past. It seems like I was able to easily enter the Supreme Divine Palace with his assistance in the dark. His name is Mu Chun, and he has mastered the laws of lightning. Old Luo, you're really a great person from the 10th hall. Mu Chun laughed, his voice resonating loudly. When Feng Yujie and Xianxia walked closer, Xianxia suddenly frowned, and then, he said in shock, "You are little Jie." Mu Chun laughed. "It's that little girl. She has been in Supreme Divine Palace for a while." Seeing Feng Yujie holding on to Xianxia's hand, Xianxia seemed to have understood something, but his reaction was not as worried as Feng Yujie's. He only smiled faintly. "I had thought that I would never see you again." Feng Yujie sighed. "I'm also surprised to be able to see you all again. Back then 9 divine kings did not see the wrong person. You have done a lot of good things now." Mu Chun laughed out loud. "That's of course. Back in the days, 9 divine kings gave us so much effort to cultivate us. How could we fail to live up to his expectations?" At this time, Ibidong also came. He was quite familiar with Xianxia and Mu Chun. "What we're going to say next is more important. This cat and this girl." Zhu Xiangyuan looked at Yuer, and Yuer looked at him as well. "It's you." Zhu Xiangyuan was shocked. Her powerful body trembled. "Why are you so excited? Didn't you see this cat last time?" Luo Tianjun immediately felt it was strange. Zhu Xiangyuan looked very excited at the moment, and this made both Xianxia and Mu Chun very interested. To be able to make Mu Chun this excited, it was obvious that there was some kind of story. Yuer also thought it was strange. She mewed twice, but she did not recognize Zhu Xiangyuan. "Star and Crescent Beast. I'm not mistaken," Zhu Xiangyuan said. "Meow." Yuer cried out and even stuck out her tongue. "The Star and Crescent Beast is not bad. What's so strange about it? He doesn't seem to know you," Luo Tianjun said. Xianxia, Mu Chun, and Ibidong had long since figured out that Yuer was a Star and Crescent Beast. "Last time I went to your 10th hall, that kitten was carried by this girl. So I didn't see its wings, but I saw it just now," Zhu Xiangyuan said. "It's a white cat with wings. I definitely won't recognize it wrongly. The last time I went to look for the Dao Heart Stone, it was this kitten that saved me." Meow. Yuer also thought it was strange. How could she have saved Zhu Xiangyuan? "You must have remembered wrongly. In my memory, I didn't save you. Their voices are the same. Why is that impossible?" Zhu Xiangyuan was even more certain that Yuer had saved him. Xianxiang carried Yuer out from the backpack and asked, "Inside your Star Moon Divine Race, is there any cat with the same exact appearance and voice as yours?" Yuer shook her head, broke free from Xianxiang's embrace and flew to Shui Bingyan. "No, I'm a pure white cat. Although there are some white cats in the Star Moon Divine Race, they're not really big. But their wings have different colors or their eyeballs are different from mine. Of course, most of them could take human form. Furthermore, it's not like you don't know my strength. Other than escaping, it's not impossible for me." This caused Xianxiang to recall Huang Jintian's situation. Huang Jintian had lived for many years, but he had forgotten what happened many years ago. "I am absolutely sure. The cat that saved me back then was you," Zhu Xiangyuan said with certainty. "Could you have lost that memory?" Yuer was also very suspicious. She firmly believed that she had not lost any of her memories before she asked Zhu Xiangyuan about the time she saved him. After Zhu Xiangyuan told her the exact time, Yuer shook her head and said, "I was indeed born a long time ago the time you mentioned, but I have all the memories I have before this. So it is impossible that it isn't just this period of time. Tell me, how did I save you?" Zhu Xiangyuan pondered for a while, then said, "At that time, I was just about to be entangled by a bark-covered guy with tree vines. At that time I would already be severely injured. But at that moment, you suddenly appeared and released a white light from your body, making the vines that the bark man released retract. Then, you brought me with you in a fast spatial teleportation, taking me far away from that dangerous place. Although I was heavily injured at that time, I was very clear-headed. I definitely remember it." Yu ran back into Xianxia's backpack, but she did not say anything. It was obvious that she was confused by Zhu Xiangyuan suddenly telling her all these things, as she needed to calm down and think about it carefully. "Let's get down to business. Give Yu some time. She still doesn't understand what's going on," Feng Yujie said. He was extremely grateful towards Yu. After all, his life had been saved by Yu. As the hall master of the Supreme Divine Palace, Mu Chun suddenly realized that he was not very clear about the disciples that he had just joined. He and Xiao Chang'e seemed to have discovered that Shui Bingyan was a little strange, but they could not really ask him any questions. "Elder Zhu, what important matter did you just say?" He and Feng Yujie were brought here by Luo Tianjun, so they definitely did not come to see Xiao Chang'e. Mu Chun said, "Tell me about our current situation. Bai Dong went to visit the divine nations. You should already know about it by now." Chun Xiang and Feng Yujie nodded their heads. Mu Chun continued to speak. "There are a lot of things that needs to be resolved on divine nations' side, but because of the great changes that have occurred in Nine Heaven World, they have no choice but to draw out some of their power to deal with them. Soon, Nine Heaven World will swallow this super god realm. Once the super god realm is annexed, even if the 9 great divine nations joined forces, they would still be unable to shake it, and they could only use bloody methods to take over the Nine Heaven World." Mu Chen's face was filled with reverence when he talked about the Nine Heaven World, because the Nine Heaven World was a creation of the 9 divine kings. Xiao Chang'e looked at Feng Yujie and said indifferently, "Xiao Jie, you're the 9 heavens goddess. You should know what to do when the time comes, right?" Feng Yujie slightly lowered her head, as if she was recalling something. She was also very surprised at this moment, because she never thought that such a thing would happen. The speed at which the 9 Heaven World grew was so fast that it was hard for her to believe. Chun Xiang said, "So that means that God's realm has already been swallowed?" Mu Chen nodded. "It has already been swallowed. The speed at which the 9 Heaven World grows can be described as crazy. The God's realm was no longer here. He had already become a 9 Heaven World, and the 9 Heaven World was still growing stronger and stronger. Once he absorbed the super god realm, he would be able to go and find LV Chilian and the others anytime in the future. Back then, he had a good foundation in both the 9 Heaven World and God's realm. If he was not suppressed by the 9 gods nation, after a period of development, he would definitely become a strong power. What he was worried about right now was that the 9 divine nations in order to control the 9 Heaven World, would slaughter all of the disobedient forces in the 9 Heaven World. At present, in Super God Realm, Beast Divine Palace, 6 Realms Divine Palace, and Supreme Divine Palace are the 3 strongest forces. Of course, the 9 Gods Nation is many times stronger than us, it's just that they don't want to come out on the surface. Their current plan is to control the Supreme Divine Palace and the other 6 Realms Divine Palace, to use that to rope in the big and small forces of the 9 Heaven World. Mu Chun continued to speak. "If 9 Gods Nation really wants to do this, there's nothing we can do about it. After all, 9 Gods Nation is very strong." Feng Yujie sighed. "In that case, the 9 Gods Nation wants the 6 Realms Divine Palace and the 6 Realms Divine Palace to control the 9 Heaven World, so that they, the 9 Gods Nation, do not have to appear and can directly control the 9 Heaven World, so that they can peacefully continue doing their work." Xiao Chang'e laughed helplessly. "That's right, and at that time in the large competition, someone from the 9 Gods Nation will come. But I heard that when the time comes, they might even drag down the Beast Divine Palace." Yue, who was hiding in the rucksack, stuck her head out and said, "Impossible. Beast Divine Palace is different from you too, because the ones leading the Beast Divine Palace are the 4 great divine beasts. It's not like you don't know that the 4 divine beasts clan was very supportive of the 9 divine kings. It was he who saved them. Moreover, the four divine beasts clan hates the nine gods nation very much. They would never listen to his orders. Mu Chun shook his head and said, "If it was in the past, that would be the case. You are a star and crescent beast. You should be a member of the star-moon divine race. Your god race is very strong, but looking at the current situation, Beast Divine Palace's strongest power should be the divine lion race." At that time, the other three god-beast clans would definitely choose to endure or even compromise in order to avoid conflict with the divine lion race. If the old Beast King was here in the past, the four god-beast clans definitely wouldn't be like this. Your four great god-beast clans are all lacking a powerful emperor, so right now, you are just a piece of loose sand, and you are even afraid that something bad might happen. Yuer did not say anything more, because she knew a little about this, especially the divine lion race. Your Beast Divine Palace can still guarantee good order right now, but that is because the four god-beast clans that are in charge of your Beast Divine Palace do not wish to cause chaos. However, if they were to face the nine gods nation's threat, it is very likely that they would compromise. After all, the leaders of the four divine beasts clan only want peace and stability. Xiao Changle said. So it turns out that none of the four great beasts had any beast emperors. This made Xianxia feel extremely worried. No, our Beast Divine Palace still has the All-Beast Divine Lord. If something really happens, the All-Beast Divine Lord will wake up, and under the All-Beast Divine Lord's leadership, at most, they will have to fight another battle with the Nine Gods Nation. The Nine Gods Nation must have something very important on their minds right now. Let's see if they dare to start a war with the All-Beast Divine Lord. Yuer's eyes were filled with determination. It seemed like All-Beast Divine Lord could revive at any time. Xiao Changle and Mu Chun both sighed slightly. They admired Yuer's resolute heart, but they still sighed. Divine Lion Race has already taken over Beast Divine Palace, and Divine Lion Race has already secretly made a deal with Nine Gods Nation. It can be said that Beast Divine Palace is more or less under Nine Gods Nation's control. As long as the other three clans do not resist at that time, the Beast Divine Palace will definitely take action against the Nine Heaven World. Mu Chun sighed. In the face of such a situation, Chun Xiang felt a lot of pressure, because in this situation, it would be best for the Nine Divine Kings to come out. And the Nine Divine Kings needed his help to get out of the ninefold space. He needed to find another four symbols divine weapons. At that time, the Nine Heaven World will be affected by the power of the Nine Gods Nation. Furthermore, right now the Nine Heaven World has already merged with the Gods Realm. There are already many shrines in the Gods Realm that are loyal to the Nine Gods Nation. That's why the Nine Gods Nation can smoothly take over the position of Nine Heaven World. Perhaps, the three of us don't even need to do anything. Luo Tianjun said. Ibidong shook his head. It's hard to say. What if the Nine Heaven World's original power is also extremely terrifying and can go toe-to-toe with the Gods Realm's divine palace? Zhu Xiangyuan asked, "You have never tried to understand these things? When did Nine Heaven World take over the Gods Realm? It started 3 days ago. At present, we don't even know much about the powers above Nine Heaven World. After all, there is still a space between them, so it's not good for us to get to know each other." Mu Chun said, "The ones who understand Nine Heaven World the best should be the two of them." Mu Chun looked towards Chun Xiang and Feng Yujia. Chun Xiang spread out his hands and said, "I have left the Nine Heaven World for a long time. When I left the Nine Heaven World, its power was rather weak. But with how fast the Nine Heaven World has grown, the cultivators above must have also improved by leaps and bounds. So I'm not sure about the specifics." At that time, Huang Jintian said that he had calculated out a great matter which was related to him. This great matter was related to the future operations of the world, and his comrades were also related to Chun Xiang. Huang Jintian's heaven-extended method had always been calculated correctly, and at that time, Huang Jintian said that something big had happened during the large competition. Right now, there was still a lot of time until the large competition, and there was still about a month or so left. In other words, there was still one more important matter that was about to happen when the various great powers of Super God Realm were holding the large competition. I came to find you guys to say this because I want to let you guys prepare yourselves. Because I don't know when Nine Heaven World will swallow this place up. If it is swallowed, then you will be in danger. Mu Qin said. Feng Yujie and Xianxia nodded. They had received the news in advance and were prepared for it. Although they were weak, they would not sit still and wait for death. Bingyan, we're going back. Feng Yujie walked to Shui Bingyan's side and lightly patted her shoulder. Shui Bingyan had just been watching the flowers and chasing after the butterflies and birds. Even though she had heard the conversation, she did not care. Feng Yujie held onto Shui Bingyan's delicate hand, worried that she would be discovered by Mu Chan and Xiao Changle when she broke through the barrier. It was only noon when they returned to the Supreme Divine Palace. They had originally planned to take a walk in the Heroes Gathering Divine City, but after knowing about the matters there, they were no longer in the mood. Don't worry about Qilian and the others. If Nine Heaven World and God's Realm are fused together, Little Joe will definitely bring them to my previous dragon vein. That place is the safest place. Little Joe will know how to enter, Feng Yujie said. The dragon vein that Feng Yujie was talking about was inside that divine tomb, which was also the birthplace of Chun Xiang. His father and the rest of his clansmen were all there to guard the tomb. I wonder what will happen then. My master told me that during the start of the large competition, something big will happen. Chun Xiang told Feng Yujie about Huang Jintian's situation. Your master is incredible indeed, to have such a background. If he can get through the Great Tribulation, not only can he recover his memories, he might even be able to recover his strength back then. I just don't know when he will begin to experience the Great Tribulation, Feng Yujie said. And Qi, I wonder how he is doing now. When she mentioned Qi, Yue suddenly became agitated. And this guy, I almost forgot. He was one of the Prince Divine Lions back then, and had died in that great battle. If he had not died at that time, he would have been the Lion King of the Divine Lion race, and might have become the new Lion King. Now that he is in the Lion Emperor's tomb, if he is able to obtain the inheritance of the Lion Emperor, it is very likely that he is the new Emperor of the Divine Lion race. Feng Yujie said, It's best if everything goes smoothly, but we have to prepare for the worst. If something really happens, and the Nine Gods Nation really wants to take action against us, we'll escape. The Nine Gods Nation has spoken the truth. There is nowhere for us to run to. You airside. No, we can escape to the Nine Heaven Devil Palace. There will be the ninefold space. As long as we hide there, we will be safe for the time being. Feng Yujie laughed. Of course, this is the worst-case scenario. We can't enter that place without a choice. If not, we won't know when we'll be able to leave. The 9 mighty celestial kings had entered, but were still unable to leave. Naturally, they were the safest ones inside, making others feel as though they had died long ago. The God's realm is in a mess now. The divine prison was breached, and now that the 9 heaven world has fused together, you can imagine how terrifying that place is. Feng Yujie shook his head and sighed. I hope that Qilian and the others can avoid these disputes. Shui Bingyan suddenly said, If we don't have anywhere to go, we can go to the place where I was born. That place should be very safe. As long as I bring you in, nothing will happen. I have an ice palace under that ocean, and it's very beautiful, but it's not fun at all, and it's also very boring. The gathering place of the Tao spirits was indeed an extremely terrifying place. The powerful subordinates of the Prince Divine Lions were all killed by Shui Bingyan in one move. Not long after Chun Xiang and his group returned, Luo Tianjun arrived. Brat, teacher told me. Did you have any conflicts with Prince Divine Lions? Luo Tianjun and Old Iron Cock came together with a serious expression. What's wrong? Chun Xiang was a little surprised. The Prince Divine Lions is here. He asked for you by name, saying that one of his silver lion died, and it might be related to you. He wanted to ask you about it. The Old Iron Cock said. The Old Iron Cock knew that Chun Xiang had been to the Beast Divine Palace before. When Chun Xiang had accepted that mission, it could be said that he had friends in the Beast Divine Palace, and that the friend was Yue. So when Prince Divine Lion said that the death of the Silver Lion was related to Chun Xiang, he secretly felt that it was Chun Xiang who did it. It has nothing to do with me. I don't want to see him. To tell you the truth, when Prince Divine Lion sent his Silver Lion to kill me, I escaped with my life, but I don't know what happened to him afterwards. Right, he should be following me into the place that's looking for Dao Heartstone. Forget about the silver lion, even Elder Zhu almost died inside, so I am not surprised that it died. Xianxia spread out his hands. Although he said this, it made Old Iron Cock and Luo Tianjun feel even more that he felt the same way. Luo Tianjun subconsciously looked at Shui Bingyan. He had experienced Shui Bingyan's power before. Now he was certain that the death of that silver lion was related to Xianxia. This Prince Divine Lions is going too far. They actually sent people to kill you. Since that's the case, we can't be nice to him either. Old Iron Cock wants to leave, but he actually wants to kill this brat. Luo Tianjun was truly angry. Right now, Xianxia just could not beat Prince Divine Lions. Otherwise, he would have gone to Prince Divine Lions long ago to settle the score with him, and would want to capture him for no reason at all. Now that the Prince Divine Lions had come to the Supreme Divine Palace, with Luo Tianjun and the Old Iron Cock supporting him from behind, Xianxia was very touched. Neither of them were afraid because of the powerful backgrounds of the Prince Divine Lions. Let's go! Luo Tianjun rolled up his sleeves and walked out of Supreme Divine Palace. The Old Iron Cock laughed and followed behind Luo Tianjun. The two of them did not seem to be afraid of the Prince Divine Lions at all. Let's go take a look as well. Feng Yujie pulled Shui Bingyan and followed closely. She was worried that something big would happen. Xianxia naturally did not fear him, as he hated the Prince Divine Lions very much in his heart. He had injured Qishir and killed the super old fire beast, making him furious just thinking about it. Yu Er snorted lightly. When the time comes, I will not appear anymore. I also have a grudge with this guy. This bastard thinks he is invincible in Beast Divine Palace. He hates me whenever he sees me. Walking out of the Supreme Divine Palace, Xianxia followed Luo Tianjun and the others to the front of a big house. When they arrived, Xianxia and the others immediately felt a wave of pressure. Because at this moment, Luo Tianjun and Old Iron Cock were filled with anger and did not conceal their aura in the slightest. After Prince Divine Lions sensed what was inside, he also released his royal might in response. The newly built Heroes Gathering Divine City already had a few people who came from the big powers. At this moment, everyone could feel that there were 3 opposing auras at this place, which caused the clouds in the sky to churn violently, creating bursts of lightning bolts. Are they going to fight? Shui Bingyan looked at the spectacular sight in the sky innocently, as she felt the 3 strong presences colliding with her, but she was not surprised by it. No, I'm just trying to reason with him, Feng Yujie said. It was impossible for them to fight in here, even if Luo Tianjun and Old Iron Cock wanted to. The 2 palace masters would come out and stop them. What are you doing? You are all elders of the Supreme Divine Palace. Is this how you treat guests? Prince Divine Lions was a little angry, and his tone became extremely cold. Didn't you say that you were looking for Xianxia? Luo Tianjun's voice was also filled with anger. Prince Divine Lions came out. Followed behind him were 2 elderly men in gray whose eyes were like torches. Just looking at Xianxia made them feel an inexplicable sense of fear. Prince Divine Lions was dressed in a golden cape and armor, and on his face was a mask carved with a golden lion's head. He was very tall, and his tall and sturdy body did not match with his gentle voice. Did you kill my silver lion? When Prince Divine Lions came out, he immediately asked Xianxia. He had seen Xianxia before, so he recognized him as well. Just as Xianxia wanted to answer, Luo Tianjun spoke coldly. He was the one who killed them. What can you do? Seeing how rude Luo Tianjun was, the eyes of the gray-robed elder behind Prince Divine Lions suddenly turned red and released a bloody light. He said, Surnamed Luo, be a bit courteous to the young master. Don't think that this is your territory, and we will allow you to humiliate us. Dog slave. There's no place for you to interrupt. Old Iron Cock let out a loud shout, and the thunderous shockwave exploded in the sky, shaking the heavens and the earth. The thick clouds that were churning in the air earlier were actually completely shaken to the point that they disappeared. Xianxia and Feng Yujie were both shocked. This Old Iron Cock normally looked like a bad old man, but he didn't expect that he would be so terrifying when he went berserk. If he shouted at a mountain earlier, maybe even that mountain would be shattered. The Prince Divine Lions had already sensed that something was amiss. Not only were Luo Tianjun and the Old Iron Cock very famous in the Supreme Divine Palace, even the other powers of the Super God realm knew a little about them. What's going on? Mu Chun came, Xiao Chang'e also came. The commotion just now, how could it not have alarmed them? Prince Divine Lions sent his Silver Lion to kill Chun Xiang. Now that the Silver Lion is dead, he still wants to find trouble with Chun Xiang. Palace Chief, tell me, is this guy too arrogant? Their underlings have been hunted down and killed, yet they still dare to come to our doorstep and demand an explanation. Luo Tianjun said indignantly. The Prince Divine Lions wanted to kill Chun Xiang. This caused Mu Chun to frown. He looked at the Prince Divine Lions and asked with an ice-cold voice, "Is that true? I did not send the Silver Lion to kill him. I only wanted to capture him and bring him back. But if he resists, it's very possible that the Silver Lion will kill him, so I have to ask him." Prince Divine Lions' tone was indifferent, and actually did not feel any fear at all. It was just as Yuer had said. She seemed to be unrivaled in the world. The Old Iron Cock sneered. What this guy means is, if he sends his men to capture Chun Xiang must not resist. Who would not resist when they are caught? Mu Chun said, "Please explain why you want to capture Chun Xiang." Prince Divine Lions immediately replied, "Because he saved an enemy who wanted to kill me. He is my enemy." Chun Xiang frowned. "You killed Qi Shi's brother for no reason, so it's natural for Qi Shi to seek you out for revenge. Is my big brother and my friend. So what if I save him? It doesn't matter. You saved him as my enemy. So of course I can catch you." The Prince Divine Lion sneered. "Since you are my enemy, then I can naturally kill the Silver Lion you sent out." Chun Xiang also laughed coldly. "I was the one who killed that stupid lion of yours. You should still have a Silver Lion. If you don't have one by your side now, you're probably done for too." Xiao Chang'e frowned. "No, Chun Xiang's current strength is not sufficient to kill that Silver Lion. I have seen that Silver Lion before. It should be at the level of a supreme divine beast, and is not something Chun Xiang can kill. Of course, it was not Chun Xiang who killed him. It was Shui Bingyan who killed him. Just now, Feng Yujie had already sent a sound transmission to Shui Bingyan, telling her to be quiet. Luo Tianjun said, "No matter who killed him, it doesn't matter what. This guy sent the Silver Lion to capture Chun Xiang. He almost caused Chun Xiang to lose his life. How can we just let him go like this?" Prince Divine Lions laughed coldly. "That's right, when he saved my enemy back then, I wanted to kill him. The reason I had the Silver Lion catch him and bring him back was so that I could torture him to death bit by bit. If I want to kill him now, what can you do to me?" Luo Tianjun laughed, and as he laughed, a black rod suddenly appeared in his hand, carrying an extremely terrifying black fiendish aura. "Wait!" Mu Chen grabbed the long rod and shouted. Seeing that Luo Tianjun was stopped, the Prince Divine Lion sneered. "You are indeed very strong, but you can't do anything to me. Look, you can't do anything to me right now. And you are currently my enemy as well, so it would be best for you not to leave your Supreme Divine Palace in the future." Luo Tianjun looked like Mu Chun. Mu Chun was the hall master and was also very strong. Old Iron Cock was extremely furious. Even Xiao Chang'e frowned at the side, because this Prince Divine Lions was simply too arrogant. It would be fine if Mu Chun wasn't here, but with Mu Chun here, he even said that he wanted to kill Luo Tianjun in front of the hall master of this Supreme Divine Palace.